All right, folks, we are going to sharpen the Cutthroat 200 grain single bevel head today. I've seen a bunch of videos, well, not a bunch, but seen videos on this, sharpening single bevels. I think the 150 grain Cutthroat in another. But anyway, let me kind of show you what we got going on here. This is a 200 grain Cutthroat single bevel. And the scale is showing 204.4. Make sure that's zeroed out. Yeah, 204.4. So it's pretty dang close to what they're listed as. So here's what I'm gonna be using. The first thing is glass. I like to do this on glass. It's smooth. And because of that, I'm gonna be using sandpaper. A lot of people, they like to use plates. Oh, and by the way, this is the S7 200 grain right bevel, the S7 steel. So this is the hardened steel. I think they said 57, 58 Rockwell. So it's a little bit harder than the original Cutthroat. And there's things on here about sandpaper not working real well. However, I have 800, 1000, 1500, and then 2000. So these are the grits of paper I'm going to be using. And then I've got a gray polishing compound on some cardboard. So I use the KME Sharp. This is the original KME Sharp as far as I know. I know there's a different version where this roller can be adjusted in and out to get different angles. Right now, I know that, and I didn't know this to begin with, but this thing is set up for the perfect angle of 25 degrees on the head. So the first thing I want to do is get this inside the sharpener. We loosen it up, put the head in here. It goes like this, so you want the angle with the head, so this is straight, right here. Now, because we're losing thickness in this bevel, what I want to do is put my sharpener towards the back so we don't grind into the sharpener. Actually, you can kind of see a little bit right there where I've done that in the past on different heads, old Muzzy Phantoms. So I want to put, for an index, I want to put the back of these threads basically at the corner of the jaws. All right, we're gonna get that up there, tighten it down. Get it tight in the jaws, not super tight. So there it is. Now, this is gonna go into the KME device. Screw this in till you hear it click. Now it's loose. And you back this up just a little bit until you feel its tension. Now there's no movement and it rotates. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the black Sharpie. And before we do this, I want to show you guys. So on this particular head, you can see, and this one actually a little bit rusty, but you can see the grind marks. It's almost like they held this in a device in this manner, a belt that sharpened this. So the first thing we want to do is get those marks out. I want you to see those. I don't know how tight this is going to get, but you can see those machine marks. All right, so we'll take the Sharpie. And I've actually shot this head into the target. Okay, so there is the Sharpie on the bevel. Now, what I do is use 800 grit to start off with. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just go backwards to make sure I've got the right angle. So we go back, got a little bit of junk, okay? And that first swipe, you can see it took a little bit off right there. So let's, okay, yeah, so the more I'm working this blade, the more I can tell that it actually it's a convex. It's actually been rolled over. So we're just now, we're nice and clean here. Got a little bit of the tip to go, probably 3/4 of the way. So we'll keep working at it. Okay, we've been going at this thing for probably 10 minutes and man, we're so close. We're so close. This convex grind that they had on this head, we're real nice and clean until we get right about to the middle, all the way out to the tip here. Just got a little bit to work on and we're gonna have it. Again, if you did this with 400, 600, you're gonna go quicker, but I just hate to remove, I wanna remove the least amount of metal as possible. And you know, a lot of people say, man, it takes a lot of work with this S7 and you can't do it with sandpaper and you know, use a little bit of penetrating cutting oil, a KME sharp, and just, you know, a little bit of pressure and just back and forth, you know, back and forth, back and forth. Check it. You know, I don't want to go too far. We're just so close right there. Just a little bit more on this front. This is all good back here. And at this point, I'm actually removing more metal than I want back here, but we want it all to be on the same 25-degree plane. All right, just a few more, just a few more. So close. I mean, you can't hardly see that, but it's there. I'm going to go a little bit more. Okay, we're there. We're there. Now, here's something that you don't see a lot of on videos, but to me, this is a hugely critical part of this process. And this is taking off this burr. So this is a single bevel. And even though we've just ground, you know, with 800, this all at the same plane, the biggest mistake you could ever make is to take a KME or any sharpening jig made for single bevels, or even if you have a jig that you lock in place that you can rotate, is to turn this over and go backwards in that same jig, because you've just taken this single bevel and you turned it into two, even if you just lightly touch it. I mean, so here's the thing. You have to get it flat. Of course, I'm using my glass. And I find that flat and I pull it off. Find that flat and I pull it off, right? Because we don't want, and what you're gonna see is that you're gonna start to see a little tiny wear of this black finish on the back side of this blade. You'll even see it way up here because we're grinding it flat. Dang it, I just about cut myself. So again, flat and pull it out. Flat and pull it out. Very light pressure. So we're keeping the single bevel of the single bevel. We only want one. So this needs to be flat over here. This is our 25-degree bevel. And believe it or not, I can actually feel the burr turn the other direction this way when I did that. So let's go to our next grit. This is 1,000. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of juice on here. Now on 1,000 grit, what I'm trying to do is polish off all of this 800. And again, we want to flatten that burr. Now, I'm going to go back and forth on the 1,000. Light pressure. We just want to cover this the whole way. This is where it actually gets pretty expedient because we've already polished everything down with 800 grit. We've got a nice little burr that we cut off. So any work that we do in this manner with the 1,000 is going to create more of a burr. And you'll see me go left to right, right to left. It's almost like, you know, polishing a car. You want to go in different directions, polishing. Okay, now. So let's take a look at it. And you're going to notice a change in the color of this steel. It's going to start getting smoother and smoother and shinier and shinier. So I'm going to go a little bit further. Okay, so there's 15. Clean him up. So he's nice, getting nice and shiny. And I can feel a little bit. So here we go. Back to the flat. Again, you'll see just a little bit of wear on the flat back here. But that's just turning the burr and breaking it off on that single bevel edge, okay? Now, let's go to the next grit. Get a nice edge. And at this point, this head that I'm working on, I mean, it's pretty dangerous. It's when I get done with it, I'm afraid to handle the daggum things. They're so sharp. But I think the big key to this is to get that flat. The flat back side is to smooth, and whether it's straightening that burr out or if it's knocking it off. I think with this S7, I don't think we're knocking it off. I think we're lining it back up. But man, does it leave an edge. All right, let's clean it up. Let's go backwards. So we're gonna go backwards. And this is just in the event that, you know, we are moving that steel a little bit. I wanna move it all in the same direction, right? Move it all in the same direction. That's why when I'm trying to remove it off of the back, you know, we want it to all go in the same direction. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and let's knock the back off of this. Again, you got just a little tiny bit of that finish removed. Man, this joker is sharp. All right, now the last thing I'm going to do is we're going to clean this off a little bit, and we're going to use our cardboard to polish this baby up. I prefer Miller Lite because I don't have cereal boxes in the house. All right, so we've gotten this dry. Now pretty much everything we're gonna do is gonna be back strokes. I moved the paper around, as you can see. I don't have leather. I think a leather strop would probably be 1,000% better. Don't have it, haven't broken down to, I haven't even really researched where you can get one. I tried the cardboard and wow, does it work. Make a little adjustment here. And just a few little licks that we've made on this. You see that? It's pretty dang shiny. All right. And so just for reference, this is Harbor Freight gray polishing compound right here. So all backwards motions, no forward. Now, every once in a while, I'll come over here and just polish up this backside. And as you'll notice, the paper is not on the glass. It's actually sitting off. It's got a little flexibility to it. So I'm not one to put a ton of stress on that steel, even though it's hard as, I'll get out. I'm just trying to polish that backside, which would be, similar to if you're doing it with a strop. And then I'll come over and hit the front. With the compound, you just take the compound and you rub it into this cardboard. It may appear that I'm pushing this thing forward, but I'm not. If you push it forward, you're gonna gall up everything. I've got it raised up, even though it's a tiny bit, it is raised, and then I'm going back down. And again, let's get over here and polish the back side a little bit. One shiny blade. Now, so we're finished on this side. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this out of the jig. And I promise you, you have to be careful with this joker. I'm talking about it will lay you open. Okay, so matter of minutes. All right, you can see that, and all the way up to the tip. And you can see it looks real good. Now let's see what kind of weight loss or retention we got on this. 202.8. Can you see that? Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. 202.9. So a couple grains. Do the other side, and it's probably going to be right at 200. All right. Clean it up. See if we can get it to cut some paper here. I think that works. All right, so .200 grain Cutthroat, KME, glass, and probably, I don't know, sandpaper. It's not the only way to do it. It's the way I do it. Probably had a total of 25 minutes with the bulk of it, working on the initial, grind of this head. But once you get past that, everything else is pretty daggum fast. And maintenance on these things, shoot it through, you know, targets, whatever. You can run it through the 2000, a lot of times just, you know, backstrokes, and then go back over your cardboard. I'd say if you know, you hit bone and this kind of stuff, you may have to go, but again, the bevel, the edge has been maintained, and all we're doing now is just we're just cleaning it up. Okay, that's it. Good luck on your single bevels and your cutthroats. Goodbye.